Okay, hi friends. Today we're going to work on our fourth strategy for two-digit addition. So you're going to open up your math journal and you're going to write page 32 at the bottom. Now please do not rip the page out. I have a single page because I messed up in my math journal. So please don't rip the page out. Just pretend like mine's in a book. Page 32. The fourth strategy we're going to talk about today. So put a 4 at the top. And it is called partial sums. So partial means a part of something. And partial sums is a lot like expanded form. And you'll see why in a minute. Partial sums. Make sure that you're spelling those words correctly, please. Try to see if we can focus a little better. Okay, partial sums. Now if I'm going too fast, you know that you can always hit pause. The first thing that you're going to do is put your math problem in front of you that I gave you. And we're going to solve this together using partial sums. All right. So we have 72 plus 18. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add up the tens. And we're not going to just add up the tens, we've got to add up the value of the tens. Okay? So think, if this was an expanded form, it would be 70 plus 2. And if this was an expanded form, it would be 10 plus 8. So we're adding up the values of the tens. So the value of our 7 tens here is what? 70. And the value of our 10 here is 10. 70 plus 10 is what, everyone? 80. 80. So really neatly, you're going to put in an 80. Now sometimes when you do partial sums, they might start by adding the ones first, and it doesn't matter when you're doing partial sums. You can start with the ones or the tens. I started with the tens just because it's a bigger number. Okay? So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to very lightly with your yellow crayon, I want you to, actually, you know what, let's start with your red. So really lightly with your red crayon, don't push hard because you still need to be able to see the numbers. So lightly color, lightly sketch over the 7 and the 1 box, the tens column. And then you're going to lightly shade right here. Remember, lightly shading so that we can see the numbers through there. And then what I like to do is I like to take my red crayon and push harder and darken around this rectangle here and here. Okay, so that you can see that that is what we did. All right, now next we're adding up the ones. So if we have 2 plus 8, these are ones, what are we going to say? What's our total? 10. So our 10 goes underneath the 80. So take a good look at that so you make sure you know what we did. And then with your yellow crayon, you're going to lightly shade in that 2 in the 8 box. And then I like to outline it, but lightly shade that. And then lightly shade in that 10 so that you know. Just really light, so you know where that came from. That we added up the yellow. Now we're ready just to add. So if we have 0 plus 0, what is it? 0. And 8 plus 1 is what? 9. So we have a sum of 90. And red and yellow make what color? Orange. So you're going to lightly shade over that 90 in the orange. And then I like to outline it in the orange that's darker. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take our scissors, alrighty, and I'm just going to very neatly cut out this box. So I'm just going to cut up the side. And the top. Alright. Then take the problem that you've cut out, and now if you're using white glue, you only need one little drop right in the middle. Or if you're using glue stick, you can just put some on. And then right underneath partial sums, I'm going to line it right up with this pink line that's in the math journal. Line up right up like that. Glue that in. Line it up right with that pink line. And then we need to get out our pencil and write down what we did. So our first step. Okay, our first step. So we're going to take and draw a line, draw an arrow like this.
Oh no.
Because our first step was what? We added the value of the 10, right? And we put the sum here. So you can draw another arrow here going to 1, okay? So add the value of the tens and put the sum here, right here. And our second step was that we added up the value of the ones and we put that here. Okay, and then I'm going to draw an arrow from 2 there. So our second step was to add the ones and put the sum here. And then our third step was to add the new columns and put the sum here. So right here is where we put the sum. So 3 steps. I'm going to give you just a second to get caught up with that. Okay, the last part is you need to find your chapter 4 vocabulary page. And you are only cutting out one card, so don't cut them all out. Just cut out the card that says column. Neatly. Cut out right on the dotted lines. Right, so I'm leaving the rest of these like this. Column, and I'm just going to stick this right down here. Now, if you don't have room at the bottom of the page, stick it right here. Okay, so here's your partial sums. Stick it right here. All right. So take a little bit of glue and glue that right in so you remember what a column is. Thanks for working hard. I'll see you soon.